Alexander Lukashenko believes he's gracefully stepping into 2026, but dark forces in the Kremlin may have already sealed his fate. What sinister plans has Vladimir Putin been silently orchestrating behind the scenes? Recent days have revealed chilling developments that could change everything. In a ruthless move, Putin's generals have turned Belarus into a giant human shield from December 25 to 26. The roofs of apartment buildings, once quiet places of daily life, are now hidden electronic warfare stations. The air is thick with tension, as unseen drones quietly patrol above, their buzzing engines a constant reminder of the danger lurking. Late on Christmas night and dawn on the 26th, the Kremlin unleashed devastating strikes on the Volyn and Rivne regions, using unmanned aerial vehicles crossing Belarusian and Russian airspace. Reports confirm that drones launched from Belarus were present at the Kovali station along the Lviv railway, indicating a direct military use of Belarusian territory, not a proxy war, but an invasion in plain sight. The situation teeters on the edge of chaos. The formidable Belarus-Ukrainian-Russian triangle is about to blow open. Ukrainian President Zelensky has always been a symbol of resilience, standing firm against overwhelming odds. His recent warning sent shockwaves across the region. They are using Belarusian territory, in both a physical and technical sense. This is a grave threat. He warned that the war is no longer at the border, it's now spilling into the streets of Minsk. Military experts predict Ukraine will rapidly bolster its forces along the Belarusian border, deploying heavy artillery, advanced defense systems, and large troop numbers. The aim? To strike back hard against these aggressive moves. Zelensky's threats hint at a terrifying possibility: Belarus may soon face a crushing blow. When the chandeliers in Lukashenko's Grand Palace go dark, it might signal the start of a devastating assault. This isn't just logistical miscalculations, this is Moscow's brutal strategy turned into reality, embedding electronic warfare systems directly into civilian infrastructure. The true horror lies in the details. The rooftop equipment isn't mere antennas, but active electronic warfare transmitters designed to block Ukrainian drones' GPS and GLONASS signals or to generate noise that blinds radar systems. What makes it worse? These devices are cleverly disguised on high-rise civilian buildings in Minsk, turning everyday homes into strategic military positions. Putin's goal? To trap Ukraine in an impossible dilemma. Allow these signals to operate and watch their cities suffer missile strikes, or target Belarusian buildings to silence the transmitters altogether. The choice is grim, and the stakes are lethal. Yet, evidence suggests Putin cares little for Belarus. His real intent is clear. Ukrainian intelligence reports reveal that Russian forces are compensating for losses at Koval and Volyn by turning Belarusian airspace into a secure corridor for ominous strikes. This new route is used for launching kamikaze drones like the Shahid 136 and 131. As well as cruise missiles, fired from covert positions within Belarus's dense forests and marshy regions. The Kremlin strategy? To leverage Belarus as a launchpad while avoiding direct conflict from Russian territory. But this comes at a brutal cost. In the coming days, Ukraine might target crucial Belarusian infrastructure, most notably, the Moser oil refinery. Just 40 kilometers from the border, it fuels the Russian war effort and the Belarusian economy. A precise strike on its distillation towers could cripple logistics, turning tanks into rusting metal piles, planes into useless toys. The resulting fire would be only the beginning. Billions in economic damage could ensue, pushing Lukashenko to the brink of collapse. Another potential target is the Mochalisky airbase south of Minsk, home to Russia's earliest warning aircraft, the MiG-31K fighters, and hypersonic missile carriers. Experts know the coordinates. An attack here could decisively end Belarus's air dominance in seconds, striking at the myth of invulnerability. But the most devastating assault would focus on Belarus's energy arteries, pipelines that carry natural gas and oil. The Yamal-Europe pipeline and the Druzhba pipeline are vital. Damaging their pumping stations or compressor centers with unknown drones could plunge Belarus into darkness and cold, freezing life in its streets. The infamous Druzhba oil pipeline has already been hit 5 times this year, according to leaked reports, an ominous warning of what may come. With Ukraine's long-range drones capable of striking targets across the entire country, the danger is no longer theoretical. The Moser refinery, the Naftan facility in the north, and countless military installations are all within reach. By hiding Putin's drones in civilian buildings, Lukashenko may have unwittingly placed his entire nation on Ukraine's kill list. One fiery morning, thick black smoke from the Moser refinery might darken Minsk skies forever, silencing the grand waltz of Lukashenko's regime. A wave of destruction could paralyze the city, turn critical infrastructure to rubble, and bring a new era of chaos. The threat is not only on the ground. As Minsk becomes a Russian military bastion, the entire geopolitical map of Eastern Europe is shifting, drawing a new line of confrontation from the Baltic to the Black Sea. Belarus, once a buffer state, now acts as a fully integrated outpost for Russia. The West has begun to act. Poland has deployed 40,000 troops near the Kaliningrad and Belarus borders, constructing fortified defenses and offensive barriers aimed at preventing a Russian invasion through the Suwalki corridor. Satellite images reveal ongoing fortification efforts, anti-tank trenches, barriers, and drone detection systems, ready to defend against a possible invasion. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are establishing their own defense lines, transforming their borders into shields against possible escalation. In this high-stakes chess game, the question remains, how much longer can Minsk remain a pawn before the entire eastern region becomes a battlefield? The ominous movement of troops, the clandestine deployment of advanced weaponry, and the strategic fortifications paint a grim picture. As the tension rises, the world watches, anticipating a future where peace could shatter at any moment, replaced by an unstoppable cascade of conflict and chaos. Recent intelligence reveals that Ukraine is preparing to bolster its defenses along the Belarusian border, deploying advanced missile systems, artillery units, and thousands of troops. This move, publicly announced by President Zelensky and backed by military analysts, signals a dangerous escalation. Belarus, acting under Russia's directives, might soon find itself embroiled in a conflict it cannot control. Imagine the quiet hum of weapons shifting into high alert. The tension in the air thickens as Kiev's forces gear up for retaliation. This is no ordinary border skirmish, it's a full-blown strategic gamble. If Ukraine responds, Belarus could become a battleground, with its streets and skies turned into chaos. The question arises, will Minsk succumb or stand firm? What's truly frightening is how Moscow's engineers have embedded electronic warfare devices in civilian skyscrapers across Minsk. No, these aren't mere antennas. These are active transmitters, relays that jam Ukrainian GPS and radars, or generate destructive noise. Their purpose? To trap Ukraine into a no-win situation. Kiev must choose, risk destroying the equipment and face potential civilian casualties, or let the transmitters operate and watch their own cities suffer. This technical nightmare isn't accidental. It's a tactic rooted in Moscow's brutal doctrine of weaponizing civilian infrastructure. The routes of these electronic signals are meticulously programmed over populated areas, mothers' apartments, bustling streets, vital hospitals, turning home fronts into military targets. It's nothing short of war crime. The Kremlin's goal? To encircle Ukraine with a web of electronic traps, crippling their defenses from within. Ukrainian intelligence confirms that Moscow is now trying to turn Belarus into a safe corridor for missile launches. Instead of firing directly from Russia, they're launching deadly drones and missiles from Belarusian territory, hidden among marshlands and dense forests. These methods are designed to bypass Ukraine's potent Western-made air defenses, making the conflict bleed over into Belarus itself. And Belarus? Its future hangs on a delicate edge. Kiev's warnings make one thing clear: if this escalation continues, the skies over Minsk could darken with the first fiery blasts. Targeting key infrastructure, like the vital Moser oil refinery, believed to be the driving force behind Belarus's economy, becomes a tempting choice. Destroying this nerve center could cut off fuel supplies to Russian tanks, grinding their military machine to a halt. Yet, this gamble might ignite a wider conflict, a domino effect that pulls Belarus into chaos and war. The second potential target is the Mochalisky airbase just south of Minsk. Home to Russia's crucial early warning aircraft and hypersonic missile carriers, its destruction would deal a devastating blow to Moscow's air dominance. Ukrainian precision strikes could wipe out these assets within moments, exposing Belarus to devastating retaliation. But the true nightmare lies in Belarus's energy arteries, the Yamal-Europe pipeline and the Druzhba pipeline, that run through its territory. These pipelines deliver vital oil and gas, fueling not only Belarus but also Russian military campaigns. An attack on these corridors would plunge the country into darkness, shutting down power supplies, freezing homes, and stopping industry. The recent strikes on the Druzhba pipeline, confirmed by multiple reports, show Moscow's readiness to use energy as a weapon. This terrain teems with danger. Ukrainian drones, capable of flying over 1,000 kilometers, could target the Naftin refinery in northern Belarus. Lukashenko's strategy of hiding Putin's drones among civilian buildings might backfire, making the entire nation an active battlefield. The rising black smoke over Minsk's refinery could mark the beginning of a new chapter, one where peace teeters on the edge of chaos. The stakes are sky-high. For Belarus, the future could swiftly turn from calm to catastrophe. As Kyiv's warning echoes louder, ready to strike critical targets, the landscape of Eastern Europe shifts dramatically. The question remains, will Minsk withstand the storm, or will it be swept into total war? The answer may soon be written in the fires lighting up Belarus's darkened skies. Recent intelligence confirms that Russia is shifting its strategy, trying to turn Belarusian airspace into a secure route. After suffering heavy losses on the Koval and Volyn fronts, Russia is now launching deadly drone attacks from Belarus's southern corridors. They are using marshes, dense forests, and civilian infrastructure as cover, blurring the line between military precision and chaos. But here's the shocking truth: Belarus is now in grave danger. As Zelensky warns that Ukraine won't stay silent, the threat of retaliation looms. Could Minsk become the next battleground? Could Ukrainian forces strike at key military targets and energy hubs inside Belarus? The answer might send shockwaves across the region. The first major target could be the Moser oil refinery, just 40 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. This colossal complex fuels the entire Russian military operation, supplying essential diesel for tanks and aircraft. If Ukraine uses advanced long-range drones or modified missiles to attack this site, it would be devastating. The refinery's destruction wouldn't just ignite fires, it could annihilate Russia's logistical backbone, crippling their entire invasion force. Imagine the scene: towering flames engulfing the refinery. Thick black smoke billowing into the sky. The smell of burning fuel filling the air. The hum of military engines going silent. Billions in losses for Belarus, pushing Lukashenko's regime toward collapse. Could such a strike trigger chaos in Minsk and beyond? And if Russia retaliates, what's next for Belarus? Is total war inevitable? Next, Kyiv could target the Mochalisky airbase south of Minsk. This is Russia's critical hub for early warning aircraft and hypersonic missile launch jets. Military experts say Ukraine's intelligence has the precise coordinates, ready for a lightning-fast drone assault. Wiping out this base could temporarily destroy Russia's air dominance over Belarus. The roar of jets replaced by a deafening silence. Would such an attack open a new chapter of open conflict in the heart of Eastern Europe? Or is Minsk destined to fall into the abyss of war? But the real danger extends beyond military strikes. The most alarming threat involves Belarus's energy infrastructure, the lifeblood of the economy. The Yamal-Europe natural gas pipeline and the legendary Druzhba oil pipeline pass through Belarus. These arteries don't just deliver fuel, they generate vital transit fees that keep the regime afloat. Targeting pumping stations and compressor centers with unknown drones could plunge Belarus into darkness and cold. Picture this: the hum of pipelines throttling to a halt, the cold wind sweeping through abandoned streets. Power outages shutting down hospitals, freezing water supplies, collapsing modern life. The sound of distant explosions at the thermal power plant. Could Ukraine's strategic strikes bring Belarus to its knees, turning it into a battleground of desperation? And when Zelensky vows to respond, does that mean Belarus, caught in the crossfire, is only a step away from chaos? All of these elements, military targets, energy infrastructure, geopolitical alliances, are intertwined in a tense, deadly dance. As Eastern Europe braces for what's next, the only certainty is that the shadows of war are lengthening, and the worst may be yet to come. The potential for striking Belarusian military targets is staggering. If an attack hits a base so close to dense city areas, the illusion of invincibility could shatter in an instant. Yet, the true nightmare for Belarus involves its vital energy systems. Imagine pipelines carrying more than just fuel, these lines sustain the entire regime. The Yamal-Europe natural gas pipeline and the legendary Druzhba oil pipeline, both snaking through Belarusian territory, are crucial. These arteries do more than transport resources, they generate the transit fees that keep the government afloat. Targeting the pumping stations or compressor centers along these pipelines with unknown drones could plunge the nation into complete darkness and freezing cold. A strike on the critical infrastructure like Minsk's fourth thermal power plant could trigger a total power failure in the capital city of 2 million. Elevators would grind to a halt, water pumps would stop working, and modern life could grind to a standstill. Ukrainian forces have already attacked the Druzhba pipeline 5 times this year, as confirmed by reputable reports. The threat is real and imminent. Even more alarming, Ukraine's long-range drones, covering 1,000 kilometers, can reach deep into northern Belarus, aiming at vital facilities like the Naftan refinery. Lukashenko's decision to hide Putin's drones within civilian buildings might have inadvertently made his entire country a target. When smoke billows from the Moser refinery one morning, it could signal the start of destruction that leaves Minsk in ruins. That beautiful city's skies filled with black smog, and the music of its proud dance hall silenced forever. Kiev's plans are darker and more destructive than anyone expected. The targets aren't just military, they threaten the very soul of Belarus's infrastructure. The government denies such plans, but the data suggests otherwise. Putin's strategy and Ukraine's potential responses reveal a brutal reality: the war has come home to Belarus. This isn't just about military maneuvers on rooftops, they sparked a geopolitical storm that has reverberated far beyond the border. The once quiet skies of Minsk are now caught in a web of tension, threatening to unravel the fragile stability of Eastern Europe itself. Recent military actions on Minsk's rooftops reveal more than just tactical moves, they ignite a wider geopolitical crisis. Now, let's step back from the chaos and examine the bigger picture surrounding Alexander Lukashenko. His decision to turn Belarus into a Russian military stronghold has reshaped the entire power landscape of Eastern Europe. Minsk's transformation into a garrison city signals a dangerous shift. It's a move that revives fears dating back centuries, fears of a united front from the Baltic to the Black Sea. Is Belarus really a sovereign nation anymore? Or has it become an extension of Russia's growing empire? The West seems to believe the latter. To them, Belarus no longer holds independent power, it's now a pawn in Moscow's game. Long-standing plans to tighten control and expand influence are finally coming to fruition. Reports reveal that Poland has positioned 40,000 troops near the border with Kaliningrad and Belarus. Not just to guard against refugees, but to block a potential invasion route. Commanding a formidable barrier, they are constructing an unbreakable steel wall against the threat of a Russian attack through the Suwalki corridor, a narrow strip that could turn into a battleground in an instant. Meanwhile, Poland has launched the Eastern Shield, a comprehensive project to fortify borders with Russia and Belarus. Satellite images from late November display the early phases of this immense effort: anti-tank trenches, dragon's teeth barriers, and trench systems carve into the terrain. The goal? Prevent infiltration, detect reconnaissance, and build an impenetrable line of defense. Other Baltic nations, the Baltic Defense Line, are following suit. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia recognize that their survival depends on these formidable barriers. While Lithuania has built some anti-tank obstacles, Latvia and Finland are still planning and developing crucial infrastructure. This isn't just about soldiers and fences, it's a new era of fortified borders and heightened alertness. But what does this all mean for the region's future? Is a new Cold War emerging, with heavily guarded fences and military drills replacing diplomacy? Or are we hurtling toward an even darker escalation? The current developments suggest the answer is closer to the latter. The question now stands: how much longer can these tensions remain contained? Or will this fortress of steel and concrete fracture under the weight of growing hostility? The stakes are rising. The world's eyes are watching, and history could be about to repeat itself in ways we dare not imagine. The shield along the Baltic borders is advancing rapidly. Concrete barriers known as dragon's teeth, sophisticated drone training systems, and cutting-edge detection tools now line the frontiers. Many sections are fortified with military-grade defenses, barbed wires, and checkpoints. This isn't just a barrier, it's a fortress designed to hold back any threat. A coalition of around 30 European nations, including Scandinavian and Baltic countries, has formed a rapid response task force. Their mission: deploy instant reinforcement if Russia or Belarus escalate. These measures signal a clear message: Putin has cornered Lukashenko. The Belarusian leader faces growing pressure, trapped between Moscow's demands and the West's preparedness. But amid these mounting tensions, an unexpected movement has ignited not in Europe, but thousands of miles away. On November 11, 2025, thousands of Belarusian nationalists marched in Warsaw. Clad in red and white, their chants echoed through the city streets. The bold slogan, "Only unity can stop the empire." It's a powerful call, warning that unity among Western nations is the last hope to halt Russia's expansionist ambitions. This march isn't just a rally, it's a seismic warning. Belarusian leaders watch nervously from afar. They see how Putin has immersed Lukashenko deeper into a web of alliances that threaten to ensnare him further. Now, the stakes are rising even more. Across the Atlantic, a different game is unfolding. Key players in Washington are preparing for the next move. In a high-stakes meeting at Florida's Mar-a-Lago, Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky sat face-to-face with the U.S. president. The discussion? The future of the war. Zelensky revealed that their peace plan is nearly complete, 90% ready. But time is slipping away. Hidden threats from Belarus, concealed in civilian buildings, loom large. The urgency is palpable. The question remains, will the West act before it's too late? Or will the shadows of conflict engulf yet another nation? Previously, we saw how Zelensky's negotiations could reshape the entire war. If he and allies like Trump agree on a plan removing Russian troops from Belarus, Lukashenko's grip on power might collapse entirely. His role would shift from being a leader to a tool in international negotiations. Meanwhile, inside Belarus, a darker reality unfolds. The country is becoming a dead zone, its economy shattered and infrastructure under threat. The illusion of stability has vanished. As foreign troops arm outside, the nation's internal economy is bleeding out. The bustling city centers now echo only with the sounds of cracking infrastructure and the distant hum of military aircraft. The president's boasts about a booming economy are contrasted sharply by a different picture: inflation spirals out of control, and everyday life becomes a fight for survival. The once thriving industries are now pawns in a larger game, directly serving the needs of Russian military operations. Perhaps the most shocking failure is the domestic electric car project. Once heralded as a symbol of innovation, it now stands frozen. Western sanctions and embargoes have blocked Belarus from accessing crucial technology. Instead of progressing, factories sit idle, gathering dust. The borders, once gateways to commerce and connection, are now sealed tight. The Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland, have closed their borders completely. Not just to refugees, but also to trade. They've erected barriers, creating a modern-day Iron Curtain, cutting Belarus off from vital supplies and markets. This isolation isn't accidental. It's a calculated move, designed to crush Belarus's last economic veins. Without access to critical energy routes, the country's future hangs in doubt. Can Lukashenko cling to power amid mounting pressure? Or will this siege push Belarus into a new chapter of chaos? As the cracks deepen, the fate of this nation teeters on a knife's edge, a fragile political survival at best, a potential path to chaos at worst. The stage is set, but the outcome remains shrouded in uncertainty. Can you imagine a once thriving nation crumbling under the weight of unseen arrows, its bridges of hope collapsing like brittle ice under heavy boots? In the shadow of Alexander Lukashenko's fading waltz, the global board is shifting. Putin plots in the darkness, turning Belarus into a deadly chess piece against Ukraine. Rooftops hum with electronic ghosts, civilian skies buzz with drones, and Zelensky vows a storm of revenge. Borders slam shut, economies bleed out, and the Iron Curtain suffocates a once open world. But now, as Trump's grand estate looms for a fateful meeting, Zelensky brings maps stained with blood and blueprints for peace. Will Ukraine strike first, or does a trap await in the whispers of diplomacy? The clock ticks, with a relentless click that echoes like distant gunfire. What if your homeland morphed overnight into a fortified cage, its open roads barbed with betrayal? In the wake of sealing borders that Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland slammed like iron gates against trade and terror, Belarus spirals deeper. The chill of isolation creeps into every bone, factories rattle with forced labor for Russia's grasp, and rooftops groan under the unseen burden of targeting systems. Once a bustling hub connecting worlds, Belarus now suffocates in a prison of stone and steel, walls towering like jealous sentinels. Feel the psychological hammer, unpaid wages sting like salt in fresh wounds, workers' hands blister from endless toil damned to feed invaders. Their leaders' vows of prosperity? A cruel mirage shattering into shards of anger, festering quietly but fiercely in silent hearts. The air thickens with panic's acrid scent, a virus spreading through shadowed alleys where enemies lurk beyond the veil. Money dissolves like fog in dawn's light, worthless paper fluttering in trembling fingers. With foes encircling, missiles perched on civilian perches, and futures erased, does hope even whisper here? Behold the end of the dance, Lukashenko's melodies fade to a deafening silence, replaced by the ominous rumble of an approaching tempest echoing through Minsk's empty streets. The crash of thunder feels imminent, each peal a visceral punch to the gut. Yet, beneath Brotherhood's false veil, Putin's shadow elongates. Under the pretense of unity, Belarus transfigures, first into a militarized outpost bristling with steel, then into a geopolitical pawn dangling by frayed threads, and finally into an economic ruin, its gears grinding to a halt. Antennas atop apartment towers hiss with electric menace, electronic warfare domes pulse invisibly, marking targets on the trembling backs of innocents. Every rooftop silhouette carries the mark of doom, a crosshair etched by ambition gone mad. Zelensky's words slice clear, Ukraine stands resolute, poised to crush this budding peril before it blooms into catastrophe. What countermeasures should grace Ukraine's arsenal against these Belarusian incursions? Unleash armies in swift mobilization, as Zelensky decrees, turning the tide with boots on ground? Or cling to Trump's diplomatic mirage, a blood-soaked ruse spun by Putin to ensnare the globe in deception's web? Picture the dilemma, a fork in fate where one path blazes with cannon fire. The other whispers with negotiators' deceit. Sweat beads on brows, decisions weigh heavy as chains. But hidden in the turmoil lies an unexpected pivot. As Zelensky unveils blueprints for withdrawal, a seismic shift rattles Lukashenko's pedestal. Stripped of autonomy, he emerges not as king, but as mere currency in Washington's poker game. And in this uprising's crescendo, when Minsk's chandeliers splinter amidst retaliatory thunder, the empire's hubris crumbles. Belarus, once shackled, might shatter the alliance itself, a shocking rebirth where a dictator's fall ignites the flame of true liberation, humiliating Putin's grand design and rewriting Europe's scarred map forever. The storm arrives, with a roar that drowns empires.